Hey, Matt.
Nicholas, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween. It only happens every, I guess, 6 or 7 years that it rolls on a Friday or a Saturday night, which is
Ooh.
great for the kids and the parents, right?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even thought it that way. Hopefully, it's a good thing. I'm actually, gonna be we're getting ready. I got my bluey costume from
Oh,
my
it's
6 years
Bluey.
old. Yeah, my 4 years old. So I hope she's okay with me wearing it right now. So
Ah, is
I'll
that
be
her
blue.
outfit for tonight?
No, 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 no. I'm a grumpy dad. I just walk around the same way I am today.
That's great.
That's the easy that's the easy way of doing it. So anyway, all right, well, why don't we get started? There you go. All right, everybody, this is Nico with eStreamly, the company that gets you live stream video commerce and social commerce directly on your website, email, SMS, social media, wherever you are. The video is shoppable. So excited to be here with Matt, my great friend from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. And this week, we have a lot of things to say about, obviously, Halloween, but not only Halloween, but everything video commerce, live shopping. Before we get there, maybe Matt, why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Yep. Thank you, Nicholas. So thank you everyone for tuning in or listening on your walk in the morning or your afternoon, doing the dishes or something, listen to our podcast. It's called the Vcommerce Podcast. Nicholas and I have been doing this for a few years. We're here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we talk about video commerce. Video commerce is the platform that started with direct response television, DRTV, graduated into 24-hour television analog networks like QVC and HSN, and now it's found everywhere. Video commerce is truly everywhere. TikTok, whatnot, your own social app, your own e-commerce site. You can pretty much buy product through video almost on every app you have. So there is a lot going on. Trump's in China, and there's TikTok news, and we followed a great CEO this week that gave his points of view on how to grow live streaming for your own site. But Nicholas, the big news that you highlighted to me in our prep meeting was the whatnot valuation.
Yeah,
Whatnot
yeah.
valuation.
Well, it's not so much the valuation that I think was interesting. I think so. Whatnot just raised some funding, additional funding, so Series F this week, $225 million. So a big sum, but not so big at the light of everything happening in the AI world and everything. It's a Series F. But I think what was super interesting is that this year they claim, at least that's what the PR documents say, that they have been turning about 6 billion in GMV, which I think is pretty astonishing when you consider that Whatnot is almost exclusively live streaming. And Matt, we have been talking with this for a while now. Like we have met many merchants, like Luna was one of them that came on the show and say like she was blown away by the Whatnot velocity. But to generate 6 billion of GMV, you gotta have velocity, and that's pretty exciting. I think it does show that the user are ready for live shopping. I think personally, I've seen that with my own client. I've seen a surge in demand recently for everything live shopping, so it's pretty exciting. But I just thought it was a really cool story to highlight because congratulations to the Whatnot team. They're doing an amazing job. But yeah, an additional 225 million in funding is pretty astonishing. It's 6
Yeah.
billion
So
in.
a couple of questions like how many? Yeah, 6 billion GMV, 225 million they just raised.
Yeah.
Series F, you said. So a couple of questions I have for them, like how many fundraising campaigns will they do
Yeah.
before they start giving back to their investors? But
Well,
but
I
the big
yeah.
question for you, Nicholas, and you live in this world as I do. I wanted to ask you, like we talk about TikTok Shop every week on this platform. We don't talk about Whatnot as much as we probably should. But in your opinion, if you're an e-commerce site that wants to get into live shopping and you're already doing it on your own website, and you had opportunities to go to one or the other, TikTok Shop or whatnot, which way would you go, and why would you go that way?
Yeah. So, first of all, Whatnot today is 250 categories: fashion, coins, sports, Pokemon cards, sneakers, right? It's a very much a gamification. Like what they have for them is like really this gamification opportunity with everything from, the app is really around that, right? So they were evaluated at the 11.5 billion. What's notable is that I think they were at 4.5 just in January, or actually close to 5 in January when they raised their last Series E. And Whatnot, I think what's interesting is when you think about Whatnot versus the other, or like whether, especially TikTok, what I'm hearing talking with different merchants is really around one, that with Whatnot, merchant can make more margin because the auction model, people are willing to pay more, right? What TikTok is very much about discount, and we had Jay talking about this in the podcast when he came, and he was mentioning that TikTok is really about everything discount wise, where Whatnot is not so much about discount, it's more about the discoverability. There's this auction model which enable you to grab on some additional margin, and it's more healthier for merchants. John Ronan that was talking about this on one of his recent episodes and podcasts, where what he was seeing is that those are more the customers that are more loyal, where TikTok is a customer that come and go. The Whatnot customer will come back, will return to the site, and they see a more long-term value from from the customer they acquire on Whatnot versus the TikTok. So the TikTok customer is a really interesting customer. They come on the app to shop. They're not like TikTok, where they come to be entertained, and by the way, they can shop. So they come to shop, and they come to have fun shopping. So I think that's kind of the magic of Whatnot, what they've been able to create. Now,
Well,
I think the challenge is to go back to your point is, how do you, is it really for every type of merchant? I think, I think if you're really tuned into culture, I think it's a really good place to be. But for product that are not tuned into culture, it might be a little difficult to approach this platform, because it's very much, in the moment, in the culture. I don't know, like, how would I describe that? But it's a lot of games, a lot of like cards, a lot of like collectibles type culture. So you gotta be okay with that kind of movement, or at least your customer base has to be aligned with some of that.
well, and you mentioned kind of their limited categories, but they're going to expand on those categories. We've seen articles about that too, right?
But it's not so much limited, right? 250 category. That's, I don't know how many. It's pretty big, right? I mean, 250 categories. Like, when you think that in a category, how many products do you have? You probably have a lot of them. So we're talking a pretty broad portfolio already, right? So I don't know. I think it's.
So the way you just described it, I think the auction dynamic of the gaming keeps the audience plugged in, right?
Oh yeah.
They want to know how inexpensively they can get the product. They want to know how much inventory is left. That stuff doesn't happen as much on TikTok Shop.
Yeah.
So that's one element. So they figured out how to hold her or hold him longer. And if they're going to do that, right, then they're going to grow sales.
You've seen how it is, right, Mike? When you go to this Whatnot app, the product doesn't stay very long on the screen, right? We're talking about couples, 30 seconds and then move on, or like, I don't know exactly how long they hold us staying, but it's a pretty rapid pace. So you don't have a lot of time to, how would I say, to really describe the product and engage, whatever. Like, you don't really control much that. It's, it's
rapid.
Moving on.
As TikTok Shop is.
Yeah. Back to back, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think on TikTok, you have the ability to control over like the pace of your product, right? So because remember, Jay is like only selling 5 SKU on TikTok Shop, on his live stream. So, when you stream 25/7, those products are not just like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I would say Luna Luna and Jay mentioned both of these things, how the audience drives their content.
Yeah.
So if the audience wants to stay on that product, they stay on it. If the audience wants to talk about that product through the live stream, they stay there. So
Yep.
in a given show, you could have 3 to 5 products that you show in a 3-hour period, where on Whatnot you might have 12 products or 15 products. And I think you're controlling it to an extent, unless the audience is asking you to go back to that other product. I want to hear more about that first product you talked about.
Yeah.
But the sense of urgency is what I get out of Whatnot versus TikTok Shop. The sense of urgency, the inventory is going to go away, limited quantities, all those kind of stories have been working in this video commerce format for, 5 decades. So Whatnot seems to be doing a better job on that storyline than TikTok Shop, at least in 2025 for me.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think it's pretty exciting. I think what's happening, I think what Whatnot is and TikTok are really demonstrating is that there's a viable path. Lately, have been hearing a lot about eBay Live, and we don't talk much about them, but it's something that for some reason for the last 2 months people are talking about eBay Live. I don't know if it's because of they did this tour, like the eBay Live tour. Remember, we were talking about that during summer, and that really reinvigorated the communities around it. But I've been, hearing more and more about that, and those systems, those platforms are working. So it's pretty exciting to see.
I agree.
So what else do you have on the docket?
Well,
for
you mentioned I didn't even see it, but this morning TikTok. Well, our president is in China right now. Deal to put TikTok under U.S. ownership could be finalized this week, according to the White House.
Yeah. So I was reading that was the news. It sounds like Larry Ellison, right, the owner of Oracle, is probably going to be the new owner of TikTok, at least US. Like a big chunk of ownership will become to him. The deal seems to come through, and China apparently has given approval. Obviously, those are, writing on news that I saw this morning. So are they true or they're not? But sounds like we're coming to a deal. So at least this situation seems to be sorted. So which is a good news for a lot of people that are relying on TikTok as a source of income.
Of course, it's no matter who owns it, it's not going away.
Yeah,
the platform will still continue to grow under U.S. ownership. My only question is, how's it going to change?
Yeah. Well, what I think is the most interesting in this whole story is it's been a whole year that we've been talking about this thing, and it took a year to settle. Because I think the law was passed for January was the deadline, which could be extended for 3 months, and then extended.
So many extensions and deadlines.
So but finally we will get that off the news cycle and on to move on to maybe and let
not
them
officially yet, but it seems to be leaning, going that way, right?
Well, the good news is they will be able to focus more on the merchants and drive more. So, not that they haven't been focusing on that, but at least they will have their mind away from that problem. So I think that's a good news for merchants.
I agree. I saw I'm on LinkedIn all the time. It's such a great learning platform. One of the companies I follow is Dappz Sports.
Yeah.
And I've actually talked to their CEO before, and as you have too, right? Andrew Scheiberg, about what he does in live streaming. And their company is built all around live streaming. They started out in just sports, but now they do all kinds of different collectibles. He walked me we had a video chat. He walked me into his studio, which was kind of insane for me. It was a big warehouse, and he was kind of showing me on his phone all the different shows that were going on all around the warehouse set, all different setups, simultaneous live streams. I was thoroughly impressed. I loved it. I fell in love with it. I've been following him. That was 2 years ago, maybe. And I've been following him ever since. This week, he gave kind of his top level points of any e-commerce platform or e-commerce company wanting to get into live streaming, and what the most important things are to take away from your experience with live streaming. So I thought it was great. He posted one topic a week, one topic a day. He had 4 topics he covered. And he really walked you through it. So if you don't follow Andrew Scheiberg, Scheiberg, or Dappz Sports, I recommend you do it. You're going to learn a lot about video commerce and live streaming. The main things were number one of how to grow through live streaming. Watch the big picture. Why live streaming isn't just an event; it's an operational model. That's his first point. Number two, where brands win. How planning, promotion, and production create results. So we've talked about that. If you're going to go on the cheap on the production side, you can't expect too much return on investment possibly, or maybe you could do it in your own apartment by yourself. Everyone's making their own decisions on that, and he thinks that how you plan it and promote it and the production side of it is an important element. Number three, what makes live shopping work? And his points were, and we've talked about this, authenticity, exclusivity, and community. So if I asked you, you would probably say community first, then authenticity, and then exclusivity, but they're all important for live streaming, all important for QVC and HSN and all the other analog networks that we work with and know. And the fourth, number one, or biggest point that he made is the power of real-time engagement. So that's kind of the coup de grace, right? That's kind of the icing on the cake. You're connecting live with your customer base. You're interacting with him and her. You're answering their questions in real time, and you're helping them make that informed decision. Almost like, 10 years ago or even today when you talk to a woman or a guy over the counter and you have a bunch of questions, although it's tough to do now in retail, and that person would help you make that decision, help you make an informed decision on whatever you want to buy. They're doing that with live commerce and live streaming right now on all platforms. I thought Andrew's posts were fantastic. I want to write to him and compliment him on the whole thing. But love to hear your thoughts, Nicolas, on like summarizing it in the way he did. Do you agree with this summarization? Would you tweak it or change it from your experience?
Well, I love the exclusivity piece. I think once you are able to drive exclusivity for your stream, you are able to communicate it better and obviously drive more audience and attention to your stream. I think if you think about exclusivity, there are two types of exclusivity you can think of. Like maybe your product naturally is exclusive, right? If you think about collectible with card and everything, so obviously every product is somewhat unique, so that drives that exclusivity. But when you're selling the same perfume or the same cosmetic, lipstick or whatever, that exclusivity becomes a little harder, especially if you have like a brand equity where you don't want to discount or you don't want to you want to be very careful or how do you position and everything. So creating that exclusivity can have different format, right? So it could be like the discount piece, but you're driving, you could think that you're driving into the bottom. The other thing that you could think about with that exclusivity is like, what else can you do? Maybe it's like exclusivity with like a signature from a special artist or something on it, right? So that might be the idea around that. But I do love that exclusivity moment and thinking through exclusivity and maybe trying to find ideas around like not so much a discount if discount is a big problem, but it's absolutely a must-have. I love that.
Well, he on that point, he talks about like scarcity, building momentum through scarcity, limited time offers, flash sales, only 10 left, limited quantities. We've talked about that before. Like there's different ways to go through that. And I love, his number one point, and that's really what we talk, kind of the overall, synopsis of what we try to do. Why live shopping isn't just an event, it's an operational model. So unfortunately, some e-commerce sites fall into the trap of, all right, we're investing in this one event. Let's see what the results are. Let's see what our feedback is, and we're going to wait and see until we see the results from our first event. And it's really a model. It's what we should be doing all the time. Certain companies that we've talked to on this show do it 24 hours, 7 days a week. And I don't think they worry too much about the minutia of what happens minute to minute as much as they do. They're making an impact to their consumer on a 24/7 platform, right?
Yeah. Yesterday I was talking with someone that do a lot live shopping for a living and kind of bring brands and bring them to life. And we were talking with this merchant. It's not a big huge merchant from an e-com digital standpoint, and the gentleman was really talking about that operation. Like how do you promote the event? What do you do for it? Like, how do you plan it for like a whole session? What is the angle? What is the and you could see really it's like the guy is looking at a scale of 2 years. He's not looking at the scale of one show. He's looking at the scale of like, okay, we're here today. How do we get to there, in 1, 2 years from now? And what are the different things needs to happen to be at that moment within the next 2 years? And then from an operation standpoint. And when you look at this through that lens, it really gives you the leeway to really be thinking through what needs to happen. How do you operationalize this and make it very efficient? Um, and that's really what I really enjoyed. And I think everyone that uh, is in the room and easy service with ecom, I don't think you're just dropping to test a new channel. You're just dropping like a new product on Amazon and see how it goes, right? You have a whole strategy behind it. You have a long term strategy and everything. The unfortunate reality with live shopping is that this is not where you create and wait. It, as any new sales channel, there's a lot of effort that needs to happen to make it happen. And I think if you, I think looking at it from a lens of 3, 6 months, something like that, it's kind of the bare minimum to kind of start to see the light, and then from there start to look at how do we operationalize, internalize it better, and make it even better. And then I think what I really love with some of the recent conversation we have with some of the guests and also some of my clients is that there's really many way of looking at it. It could be you. This is your digital storefront when anyone can show up and ask questions. This could be the amplification of your message in a very natural way by someone from the company. This could be obviously the sales channel where sales happen. This could be the way where you learn from new products. I mean, there are so many different ways you can leverage your engagement on the live that I think it's pretty exciting, and I think yeah, those are the
Well, yeah, and I think I talked to a young entrepreneur maybe 3 years ago before TikTok Shop even existed, and I talked about the QVC way and the product blueprint and the girlfriend and girlfriend sales approach and how we talk to the consumer. And he's like, "What? We just turn on the camera and go. I don't really have direction." And I'm like, "How can you possibly do that?" And now it's gone for me. If he was the common factor 3, 4 years ago in live streaming, now it's done a complete 180 to me. This is just like home shopping, how they set up their platform, how every minute counts, how everything they say and do is relative to the sale, and getting the customer over the fence and making that impulse purchase, all of that. And everything Andrew said, everything you said, is you come in with a game plan, you execute the game plan. It's a long-term game plan. It's another streaming model for your e-com, for your brick and mortar business, and you see how you can develop through video commerce. So again, Andrew Schalberg, he did a great job. CEO of Dappz Sports this week on LinkedIn. Please follow him.
Yeah. Well, follow us too, right? If you're interested with video commerce, feel free to share with your friend. We're here every Friday on LinkedIn, but we also on the live e-commerce podcast. You can tune into the pod and search and find it. Matt and I are posting every Friday. We try to be Friday, but like maybe sometime it's Saturday that I post. We're also on LinkedIn, on YouTube, right, on the Extremely channel. But yeah, share with your friend. And obviously, Matt, you and I, we always say that, but if anyone is interested in the space, right, if you're interested and not trying to sell us something, but a genuine thing that you can bring to the audience and wants to come on the show, please raise your hand. We do accept guests as long as there's really something interesting in the video commerce space. That's what we are here for. Matt, you ready for the weekend?
Yes. It's been a long week. I am ready for the weekend.
Oh, I am too. All right, Matt. We will see you again next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.